not just church, but homeless outreach. So I'm very active in the recovery community with Celebrate Recovery, helping women who have been in trafficking situations and now trying to educate young people in that same situation, trying to help prevent men or young boys and girls from becoming part of that statistic.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ryan Howard. I'm the youth president at Mount Gilead Apostolic Faith Church. I've been in that capacity now for the past 3 years. And so I'm speaking, I'm a dad of three. I got 3 young ones, 11, 9, and 7. And so, I'm in the prime of my life right now. And so, I'm just here as a good friend of Ty Davis's. And I love what he's doing in the community. I look to be more involved in the community to really impact the lives of young people. And so that's why I'm here today.
Hi, my name is Juan Moore, and I am currently the youth minister at Community Church of God in Christ. Been doing it for about 3 years. I've always been active in my church, from serving as an usher all the way up to ministry. And I'm glad for the opportunity to share with you guys from my perspective on being a youth minister as well as being a youth myself.
Hi, I'm Nikkei Luca. I'm in the 8th grade, and some things I like doing community service, sports, and other stuff like that.
Hi, my name is Jack Myers. I'm a sophomore at Goddard High, and I attend Switch, and really just enjoy making connections with people and trying to further the kingdom.
Hi everyone, my name's Katie, and I also attend Switch. Me, Jack, and Sean actually all go to the same church, and I just enjoy helping people. I love loving people. That's one of my biggest quotes. And I just enjoy loving on God's people.
Awesome.
Let's give it up for the panel.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing some amazing things, and there are definitely some commonalities I can share with all of you, each of you. So let's talk just a little bit about the purpose of the panel. And so we have an incredible group of different generations here who are going to help us better understand their perspectives and learn how we can collaborate with one another to continue to strengthen generations and our future, upcoming future. And so we're looking to foster a deeper connection and find actionable ways, the keyword actionable, to bridge the gap and figure out what we can do to continue to collaborate to move forward. So I have a list of questions Brother Taiwan gave me, and I'm gonna ask them, and then if you feel led to answer, feel free to answer. Not everyone has to respond, but if you have something you'd like to say to contribute and you feel would add value, please go ahead. So, what do you think is the biggest misunderstanding between your generation and the other, and how can you change it? So first off, let's kind of read the room a little bit. How many, let's see, what is it, the baby boomer generation? How many baby boomers do we have in the room? Okay. All right. We can go a little further back. I forget the generation before the baby boomer. Silent generation. Any silent generation here? Okay. The next generation is Generation X. Any Generation X in the room? All right. Whoop, whoop. Any millennials in the room? Whoop, whoop. All right. The next generation is Generation Z. Any generation, Gen Z? Okay. And then the last, I believe, is Alpha, Gen Alpha. Yeah, they've gone all the way up. Nikkei's in Gen Alpha. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. Awesome. Okay. So now that we know what generations are represented, again, what do you think is the biggest misunderstanding between your generation and perhaps the others, and how can we change it?
Oh, okay, I guess I'll go.
Okay.
I think that probably the biggest misunderstanding is that teens can't reach like other people, maybe from different generations. One of my favorite Bible verses is 1 Timothy, 4:12. I'm so sorry. And it just says that don't underestimate or like don't let anyone judge you for your youth. And I fully believe that the best people to reach students is students. And I think that because like you don't have to go out in your like community to serve God when the person sitting next to you doesn't know Jesus. And so I really think that that's just probably the biggest misunderstanding, that youth can do so much and are so on fire for Christ, and they just need like the tools to do that and to really excel at that.
Yes, Katie.
I absolutely love that answer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because at my church, we're supposed to be holding and right on cue, right?
Yep.
We're holding a revival, and that is our theme scripture, 1 Timothy 4:12. And what was so significant about that is Paul, as an older man, was giving a mandate to a young man not to let an old person despise his youth. So I thought that's beautiful, and I think we kind of miss that because there's an assumption that we're better than you, you know, and the things that you're not getting ahead in life because you're not doing like we were. And it's kind of like, no, you don't understand the things that we have to go through. We've never been in a generation like this. We've never seen things like this happen. It's like the LeBron James, Michael Jordan type of gap. You know, Michael Jordan didn't have to go through social media, you know, that advent, so he didn't have as much pressure on him to be great as LeBron James had on him to be great. Not saying that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. I'm just saying the pressure is different. And so I don't think it's a misunderstanding as much as it is a lack of willingness to understand what this generation is going through.
Yeah, good. Good.
All right, I think we can drop the mic on both of those responses. That was really, really good. And ironically, in our youth class this past Tuesday, that was the scripture we talked about. And I asked them to give some examples of influential people. And ironically, they named people that were not in their generation, which was interesting to me. But like you said, hold up, I wrote your name down, Ryan. We can take a little bit from each generation and use it to leverage to move the work forward. So I appreciate that response. Next, how do you think technology has affected the way we communicate across generations, and how can we use technology to bridge the gap? So again, how has technology impacted the way we communicate between generations, and how can we use it to bridge the gap?
Okay, so I think that technology has impacted us because, well, like they were saying, LeBron James has all this pressure to be great because of social media and stuff, because it's easier for things to be shared, for other people to see them. So when like people are posting stuff like, oh, well, is this gonna look good? Is this not gonna look good? And it's like a lot of people get like scared to like say things online because what if a lot of people don't agree? What if they get canceled and stuff like that? So a lot of people just stay quiet on really things that matter. And then I think communicating, I think it's just a lack of like wanting to do something. If you want to communicate with someone about a certain problem, then it's easier for you to do that because of technology. All you have to do is shoot a text, give an email, call. But if you don't really care so much about it, then it's like, well, you have all these resources, so what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna sit there and do nothing? Or are you going to actually talk to another person and communicate about your problems?
That's good.
Good. Good.
Okay, so I'm in agreement with her. I think one of the biggest ways that it's affected communication across generations is us older people. I can't believe I'm saying that. Us older people, sometimes we look at the younger generation and we're like, oh, they don't want to meet face to face, or they don't want to talk to us. But we need to meet them where they're at then. And that's something that I have had to come to understand with my own teenage daughter, with my even 20-year-old daughters, is meeting them right where they're at. If they're having a hard time communicating with me face to face, I'm a writer, so I write to them. And then they're able to write back to me. I don't have to use the same type of language that they're using. The language is the technology. So being able to do that, and then we're able to meet face to face and have those conversations. Maybe something that they're embarrassed about bringing up to me face to face, but they can do it over a text or through a meme or through, a video that they want to send to me. And I think things are funny too, and we have to, break that, break that wall down, that barrier where we can't communicate with them. And, if you're not able, you don't understand it, have somebody next to you show you how to do it as older generations, so we can communicate with them. And I think that's going to be a huge thing. So.
I think one thing we need to remember too is technology has changed the speed with which we do things. And so, when I was growing up, you had time to think about an answer.
Yeah.
And then you were face to face and you gave an answer. Whereas now, the generation now is used to having, this is more powerful than the computers that sent the man to the moon by NASA. NASA would have loved to have had a computer this powerful. They really would have. And we have one of these in almost every single teenager's hands.
She's calm
And
now.
so we have to understand that
I think she thinks
it's not just different technology ways of communicating, but my 17-year-old, if he watches the first 15 seconds of a TikTok video and it doesn't catch his attention, he's moving on.
Yeah.
He's going to the next video. So if you really want to communicate, you got to get their attention quick, because it's that mindset, to where if you don't snag their attention within the first maybe 10, 15 seconds, you may be done. You may have just missed out on your opportunity. So if it's very important, you want to get that communication to them quickly so they understand. Because texts are immediate, and half the time I don't understand what all the letters mean, because I spell out my words appropriately, and I use correct punctuation. Okay? So that's okay. That's okay. And I'll tell my son, I have no clue what you just said to me. And he'll tell me what he said. Well, I don't tell him, I text it to him. You know what I mean? Because that's the easiest way. But we kind of have to focus, if the message is important, then we need to get the message to them in a way that's going to snag their attention quickly, and in a way that they're used to hearing that message. So.
I think those are all great points, right? But I think the biggest thing that technology does for the younger generation is creates unreal expectations for any kind of boundary that they have. Because you go on social media and all you see is these people posting the best points in their life, and that sets you to an emotional standard that is way lower than what it should be. You start to feel like you should be up with what those people are doing. But that's just the highlight of their life. That's the highlight of their week. When you might be in a completely different spot at that time. So I think, you're comparing the best version of them to the worst version of you. But it's that kind of creates a gap too, right? Where you guys grew up seeing the best parts of people because you guys weren't scrolling on Instagram all day, where people post edited pictures and they wake up and go about their day and then find the best part of their day and post it. Whereas we go through that constantly. So I think that's one of the biggest changes that technology has done for us.
Yeah, okay.
That's awesome, Eric. And I want to piggyback off of that. The word that comes to my mind is angles. I just posted a 60-second video on Facebook, and there's a nice little part, a little corner of my Sunday school room right? That I've set up to look all nice, you know, palettes, hanging lights, all of that. I got the lighting around, and I got the perfect camera angle. And you know, I've learned a little bit about lighting, and so, you know, I put the right light right there, hits, the shadow comes off, and, you know, I'm talking and I'm excited, but what people can't see is I'm in my work clothes. You know, I just came from work. I got a little bit of dirt right here, you know, but what they can see is the best of me. And so that is, you know, the issue that comes across with technology is you're showing people the best of you, right? And what technology should do is cause us to have a desire to be in each other's presence. Right? So how do we use that to actually come together in places like these where we can actually see each other, know each other, you know, and not just say, well, I'm just another follower of this person on TikTok or Instagram or on Facebook.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, we can clap for the informed responses. And as you all were talking, I was just thinking again about bridging the gap, you know, just as different generations use it as a tool to communicate with younger generations. I think it's reciprocal in that the younger generations also have to learn to communicate with the older generation.
Yeah.
I think about the workplace, right? Who's managing who right now?
Yeah.
You have a lot more Gen X managing, you know, millennials and Gen Z, and in some cases you have Gen Z and millennials managing Gen X. And so it's definitely adapting, but also being very intentional and continually reminding ourselves to put technology in its place, and not letting it put pressure on us to do things that maybe reflect not our reality. But, all right, next question. What do you expect from the adults, youth in your life, and how do we meet those expectations? So it looks like we have different generations on each side. So one response from that side and another response from this side, please.
I believe that the adults need to start taking time to see our point of view, because I grew up in a time where I had an older mother, and she would say things like, "You don't have a bad day. You don't have, you don't know what it's like because we have bills and you don't have bills to pay." So dealing with that, I think adults, they need to take time to understand and talk with. That's my expectation, that you come down and talk to me and let me know and ask me questions. Why are you having a bad day? Because we go through things too. There's nothing that adults go through and young go through. So we as young people, we just want to be heard. And we expect adults to hear us, because when you don't hear us, how can we hear you?
Good point. Yeah, good point.
So I will agree 100% with that. And I didn't tell some of my background. I used to work with juvenile offenders in the state of Florida for multiple years. And in working with youth, I think the first thing that's the most important thing is letting them know that you truly care about their opinion. And if they want to know that you're helping, then they have to know that you're listening.
Yeah.
Okay? We talk with our youth leaders a lot. They don't care what you know till they know that you care.
Yeah.
And the easiest way that you show them that you care is you give them your time in listening. And you let them know, because when you truly listen, and I don't mean just sit in front of them and let them ramble. That's not what I mean. I mean truly listen. Listen for understanding. Listen to where you're wanting to make a difference. Because when you truly do that for them, then they realize they're important to you. They're important enough to me that I'm going to take my time, I'm going to listen, I'm going to ask questions, and I'm truly going to try to understand what you're going through. And once we establish that, then they understand that you're real as an adult, and they really understand that it's not just I'm checking a box, I'm truly here for a purpose, and they are that purpose. And that's when you can start communicating and understanding. And that, in my experience, has been when they start to open up more, and they'll start coming to you and say, hey, you know, Katie comes up to me every Sunday and has like 10 questions from her Bible reading. She's like, I don't understand what Jesus meant when he said this. And I'm like, good, because I don't either. But I know where we can go to find the answer. You know what I mean? And so then they start opening up and they start using you as a resource, and that's when you truly have an opportunity to really get into their lives and help them.
Good. Good. Good.
Is it working? There we go. Just like Sean said, like I do go up to him every Sunday and Wednesday because I read my Bible. And something that having that outlet is, I have probably for about a month or two, I've gone to him every single, like twice a week, and I've asked him questions. And the things that I've learned that like it didn't occur to me, I didn't know what the Passover was. Like I was reading this word over and over again, and I was like, do I really know what this is? And then from going to Sean and then him being so opening, and like even in John it talks about how Nicodemus came to Jesus with his questions, and Jesus was like, okay, you don't understand this, let me show you like what it means. And having that kind of patience that Sean had with me was like something that like now I go to more adults. Like I'm more open with like my confusion with my peers because I was open with my confusion with someone who was older than me, and that was able to kind of then let my guard down on my peers more too. So I feel like that's also something that like God just kind of showed me through Sean too, and through asking questions and through like kind of being curious, because like now I expect that from Sean. I expect him to be caring and being patient with me because I've seen him over and over again be patient.
Good.
Also, it reminds me of that new Christian movie, The Forge. What we need now is we need discipleship.
Yeah.
Because we can go to church, you can throw us in Bible school, you can throw us and participate in different things, but we need discipleship. We need that one-on-one conversation. We need groups like the ministry there gave me a flyer, seeing that young men and older men come together to build up the mental mindset, the manhood in men. I think that's great because we need discipleship now.
Good.
I was just going to share something that my teenage daughter, you know, she's 17, so she's the third daughter of 4. And over this past year, some things that she's come to me and told me that she needs from me is what you just were talking about, was not just, you know, I grew up also with kids that are meant to be seen and not heard. Go somewhere else and do something else because this is a grown folks business and not for kids. And so that's something that I try not to do with my kids, and that's something that we as this generation and older need to understand, is that our kids are meant to be seen, they are meant to be heard, and in order to do that, we have to hold space for them. And holding space for them, like you were just saying, is not just staring into their face while they're going on and on, is ask questions, ask things, notice them, understand little details about them. If you don't know that child and they're coming to you, ask them, do you want my advice, or do you just want me to listen right now? Those are some key things that I've had to understand with my teenagers and with other youth that I work with. And something that we do in our family, and I have taken classes on, is called pledge. And that's pausing when there's an issue, if there's an argument, if there's something going on that's not an agreeable moment, is pause. You don't always have to solve it right in that moment. And that youth might think that they need to solve it in that moment, or you might, but we need to pause for a moment, whether that's a couple of hours, a couple of days, and then listening. And listening not with me coming back with a rebuttal, but with me intentionally hearing what you're saying, echoing back what you just said. And then, you know, disarming you with that, hey, I understand, validating. We have to validate our youth. That is something that I think they all want to have. That's what I need. I need validation, and then giving them that opportunity to repeat. You know, now let's hear my side of it, or let's just have this conversation about what's going on.